brother Hatim, and you have joined us in Gye-Nyame Journey Radio. Be sure to check out our site and subscribe at tribe.Gye-Nyame.
All my brothers and sisters, hold hands and bow your heads. Let us pray. God, stand up in the congregation of the mighty. He's ready for much of God. How long will you judge unjust and accept the praises of the wicked? I say, in the corner, Father, the justice that existed in the meeting, deliver the prayer meeting, and the out of the hand of the wicked. They know not, neither will they understand. They go upon and go. All the foundations of the earth are out of court. I have said, and you are God, and all of you are children of the Most High. You shall die like men, and fall like one of the princes. Rise, O God, towards the earth. Rise, shall inherit all nations. Allah,
This is Kabbalah Fox, and you are now listening to the Gye-Nyame Journey Radio.
Keep up with the journey. Check out what we have done in the past. Go to journeyarchives.com.
This is Ivan Sheik, aka Ace, live from Shasha Mosh, and you are now listening to Gye-Nyame Journey Radio.
Be sure to follow Gye-Nyame Journey on Facebook, Google Plus, and Twitter. Check us out. Join the journey.
This is Ivan Sheik, aka Ace, live from Shasha Mosh, and you are now listening to Gye-Nyame Journey Radio.
You are now listening to Gye-Nyame Journey Radio with Monica. Enjoy. This is Marina, this is Gye-Nyame Journey Radio.
This is Will. Welcome to Gye-Nyame Journey Radio. I want to give a shout out to Silver Kevin, all my Silver Nation out there. I want to give a shout out to my mom. I give you a shout out to my dad for raising me and my family to be around me. And I want to give a shout out to the people of my generation that's trying to do something big.
And you're listening to Gye-Nyame Journey Radio.
Peace, Hotel. It's Mansour Hotel, aka Mr. Deity. Mr. Deity doesn't sound good, I think it sounds great. Right now, you're listening to Gye-Nyame Journey Radio. If you're not adding anything to the culture that you claim, you don't deserve to carry its name. This is Brother Hatim coming at you live, and you are now listening to the Gye-Nyame Journey Radio. Shouts out to the Gye-Nyame tribe, Gye-Nyame family. Stand up. thing to the culture that you claim. You don't deserve to carry this name. This is Red Hot Tech coming at you live, and you are now listening to the Gye-Nyame Journey Radio. Shout out to Shasha Mosh. Stand up. You are now listening to Gye-Nyame Journey Radio. Peace. This is Gina. You are now
listen to your body.
on Gye-Nyame Radio. Peace.
And you have heard it. We had enough, family, and you know that you are in the congregation of the mighty. This is the place where your hustle build muscle, also known as Gye-Nyame Journey Media. And the mayor's on it tonight. This is a Heart of a Simple production, and right now we are on Folktales for Grown Folks. And do we have a discussion and a tale for you tonight? And you know we strive to blow up all your old paradigms. Family. I'm running a little bit late. We had a meeting about the mall this weekend, this Kaumba, March 30th, from 12 to 6 over at the Millennium Community School, which is 3500 Refugee Road. We hope to see you out there. Like and share. I just posted up another commercial up on Instagram, our Facebook page. I'm about to also put it up on the blog, add to the blog, and I'm about to blast it out. Family, come on now, support the vendors. You know what I'm saying? Support the local entrepreneurs. You know what I'm saying? If we want to really build, we have to really start supporting those businesses that support us. All right. So tonight, you know, is Folktales for Grown Folks. I need to let everybody know that the lines are open. I am going to type in that right now. Call in line is open. 614-556-4535. All right. So I came across some interesting conversations on YouTube, and one of the things I've been meaning to do was to get around and read this HR 40 bill or proposal commission, and it's basically a commission to study and develop reparation proposal for African Americans Act, because a lot of people have been talking about it recently. I have heard some good commentary on it, and some serious questions came up about it, because Nancy Pelosi got up and stated that she was in favor of pushing forward HR 40. And once again, we're going to get into where we see things are being either we have attempts of people derailing, attempting takeovers, and also putting out false bait. Family. We got to be clear about this. You know what I'm saying? Because this we're going to read a little bit of it. And of course, you know I'm going to fit it into the folktale. But before we even go any further on that, let's hit this folktale. Let me make sure nobody trying to call in, because what does it say? This, that. Check one, check two, check one, check two. Make sure my mic is working so if the lines are open. The name of the story tonight is The Mules and the Robbers. I want to apologize to those Daily Toasters that might have checked out the show on Spreaker. I didn't have the mic plugged in. I didn't discover that until afterwards. But you know, early in the morning, late night, you know, shit gets confusing. Here you go. The Mules and the Robbers. 2 mules were laden with packs, were trudging along. One carried panniers filled with money, the other sacks weighted with grain. The mule carrying the treasure walked with his head erect, as if conscious of the value of his burden, and tossed up and down the clear-toned bells fastened on his neck. His companion followed with quiet and easy steps. All of a sudden, robbers rushed upon them from their hiding places, and in the scuffle with their owners, wounded with a sword the mule carrying the treasure, which they greedily seized while taking no notice of the grain. The mule which had been robbed and wounded bewailed his misfortune. The other replied, I am indeed glad that I was thought so little of, for I have lost nothing, nor am I hurt with any wound. Once again, 2 mules well laden with packs were trudging along. One carried panniers filled with money, the other sacks weighted with grain. The mule carrying the treasure walked with head erect, as if conscious of the value of his burden, and tossed up and down the clear-toned bells fastened to his neck. His companion followed with quiet and easy steps. All of a sudden, robbers rushed upon them from their hiding places, and in the scuffle with their owners, wounded with a sword the mule carrying the treasure, which they greedily seized while taking no notice of the grain. The mule which had been robbed and wounded bewailed his misfortune. The other replied, I am indeed glad that I was thought so little of, for I have lost nothing, nor am I hurt with any wound. Now, of course, we're going to get back to that. Hopefully some people call in. We're going to discuss that. Of course, you know, I always try to wrap stuff up, and I always want people to know we call it wisdom mining, because you can find wisdom for your personal life, wisdom for your family life, wisdom for your community life, wisdom for your tribal life, wisdom for your national life. All right? Because these folk tales are layered. And being layered, it requires us to do the dirty work. Get in there and do that wisdom mining and get through all of the mud and the muck and remove until we find that jewel that's been waiting for us. I like to call this crystallized wisdom. These stories and these proverbs, I like to call them crystallized wisdom, because this is wisdom that has been left for us by our ancestors to help us solve some of our life problems. All right? So that's the challenge. So think about that folktale and see if you can bring any idea or you know what I'm saying, bring up anything, especially connected with some of the stuff that I'm going to bring right now. So what I did was I looked at the HR bill. Now, what really made me have to put a fire up under my ass to read it was that I was listening to the Black Authority, and he ran through this thing, man. Oh my God. And then I listened to Yvette Carnell's latest show, and she also trashed it as well. So I want us as Gye-Nyame Journey to read it and see where some of the holes are, or whether we agree with it. Now, one of the reasons that I didn't pick it up and read it years ago was because you know how these politicians write, and it be long and shit. Let me show you something. Far as, because you go to bills and, and some of that shit be long, but I want to show y'all something. Watch this. 1, half a page. 2, 3, 4, 5, and not even a quarter. So let's say it's 5 3/4 pages. This is the bill to study reparations. So I was like, well, goddamn. You know what I'm saying? They place 400 years of suffering, or the thing to study 400 years of suffering on 5 pages and a quarter. All right, so now the piece that we have to understand is that a lot of times when they put these commissions together, these commissions are stalling tactics, because what can be said is that I pushed it into Congress. And we got to understand when people are actually doing real work, and when people are, as my younger brothers in the street years ago used to say, trying to spin us off. Right? Because we know that you put things in commissions, and commissions do discussions, and boom, 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 and they call, they have hearings, and then what? Then what? Come on now. Come on. Right? So now, we want to study reparations. Shouts out to Sister Navita. Also, shouts out to my brother at Americuts. I don't want to miss nobody. All right? You already know. Right? So now, we're going to connect this to the 2 mules and the robbers. All right? To the 2 mules and the robbers. Because for me, this folktale is a warning for us. All right? Has some light for us. Now, let's read the beginning. The Commission to Study and Develop Reparation Proposal for African American Act. To address the fundamental injustice, cruelty, brutality, and inhumanity of slavery in the United States and the 13 American colonies between 1619 and 1865. And to establish a commission to study and consider a national apology and proposal for reparations for the institution of slavery, its subsequent de jure and de facto racial and economic discriminations against African Americans, and the impact of these forces on living African and the impact of these forces on living African Americans, to make a recommendation to Congress on appropriate remedies and for other purposes. Now, family, the time for, because this is the issue. Now, remember, let me go to the next one. And this one was put forth by Miss Jackson Lee. Now, you could go to, because I tried to post it up on Gye-Nyame Journey. I don't know what happened. But you go in here, you could check and see if your representative supported this bill. And I am pleased to say Mrs. Beatty signed on to the bill for those of us that's in Ohio. But here's the problem. As of January 3rd, 2019, because this is this is a hot issue right now to discuss. So of course a lot of people are going to be signing on now. But this bill has been submitted, from what I understanding, for 30 years. And now, people, because I want y'all to think about this. For a long time, not only would they not discuss reparations, they wouldn't even sign on to a bill that does nothing but study. This basically is going to get a bunch of eggheads together in the room, and they're going to sit around, they're going to study, and they're going to debate. But y'all get ready for this, right? To address the fundamental injustice, cruelty, brutality, and inhumanity of slavery in the United States and the 13 American colonies between 1619 and 1865, established a commission to study and consider a national apology and proposal for reparations for the institution of slavery, its subsequent de jure, de facto racial and economic discrimination against African Americans, and impact of these forces on living African Americans, to make recommendations to Congress on appropriate remedies and for other purposes. Be it enacted by the Senate and the House of Representatives of the United States of America and Congress assembled.
Wrong way.
So they go through Section 1, short title, Commission to Study and Develop Reparation Proposal for African Americans Act. Wow, I might need to get into this because already, they're repeating. I might need to get in politics. This easy? Look at it. Section 2, Finding and Purpose. The Congress finds that approximately 4 million Africans and their descendants were enslaved in the United States and colonies that became the United States from 1619 to 1865. The institution of slavery was constitutionally and statutorily sanctioned by the government of the United States from 1789 through 1865. Key point. The slavery that flourished in the United States constituted an immoral and inhumane deprivation of African life. Come on. Thank you. Real life here at Gye-Nyame Journey. Thank you, Miss Gina. Of Africans' life, liberty, African citizenship rights, and cultural heritage, and denied them from the fruits of their own labor. Okay. A preponderance of scholarly, legal, community, evidentiary, documentation, and popular culture markers constitute the basis for inquiry into the ongoing effects of the institution of slavery and its legacy of persistent systematic structure of the discrimination on living African Americans and society in the United States. And following the abolition of slavery, the United States government at the federal, state, and local level continued to perpetrate, condone, and often profit from practices that continue to brutalize and disadvantage African Americans, including sharecropping, convict leasing, Jim Crow, redlining, unequal education, and disproportionate treatment at the hands of the criminal justice system. And as a result of this historic and continued discrimination, African Americans continue to suffer debilitating economic, educational, and health hardships, including but not limited to having nearly 1 million black people incarcerated, an unemployment rate more than twice the current white unemployment rate, and an average of less than 1/16 of the wealth of white families, a disparity which has worsened, not improved over time. Now, group, all that, right? But like I said, boom, all right, cool. They talking about bringing a group together to study it. All right, cool. All right, so we need to now, but let's get to that. Purpose. The purpose of the act is to establish a commission to study and develop reparation proposals for African Americans as a result. All right, so you can read the purpose, because it kind of goes through and repeats. So we got, but in the purpose, they talk about the different parts of the country and in different ways that people and the institution of America has benefited. Establishment and duties. That's long too. There is established a commission to study, develop reparation proposal for African Americans. Hereunto in this act referred to as the commission. The commission shall perform the following duties: identify, compile, synthesize the relevant corpus of evidentiary documentation of the institution of slavery which existed within the United States and the colonies that became the United States from 1690. Damn, they keep repeating. Man, we need to get our kids, we need to get our young people ready for politics. This shit look like it's a breeze. The commission's documentation and examination shall include, but not be limited to, the facts related to. So they go all through all this again. All right, let's get to the juicy part. All right, report to Congress, Part C. The commission shall submit a written report of its findings and recommendations to Congress not later than the date which is 1 year after the date of the first meeting of the commission, held pursuant as sections. Membership. Here we go. You excited like I am? Huh? You ready? You excited? All right, because I'm about to bring this back to the mule and the robbers. Number and appointment. A. Number and appointment. 1. The commission shall be composed of 13 members. Ooh, a good number. Who shall be appointed within 90 days after the date of the enactment of this act as follows. Ooh, man. Ooh, I can smell the reparations baking cooking. Let's see. 3 members shall be appointed by the president. Wait, that's 3 out of 13. 3 out of 13. We still might got a chance. Hold on. So the presidents get 3. Right? 3 members shall be appointed by the Speaker of the House of Representatives. 3. That's 6. 1 member shall be appointed by the President pro tempore of the Senate. That's 7. 13, 7. 7 is a majority. Damn. 6 members shall be selected from the major civil society and reparations organizations that have historically championed the cause of reparatory justice. They don't say who's going to appoint these. All right. All hope is not lost. Hold on. All members of the commission shall be persons who are especially qualified to serve on the commission by virtue of their education, training, activism, or experience, particularly in the field of African American studies and reparatory justice. Terms. The term of office for members shall be for life of the commission. A vacancy in the commission shall not affect the powers of the commission and shall be filled in the same manner in which the original appointment was made. First meeting. The president shall call the first meeting of the commission within 120 days after the date of the enactment of this act, or within 30 days after the date on which legislation is enacted, making appropriation to carry out this act, whichever date is later. Okay. Quorum. To have a quorum, that's the group that's able to vote. A quorum of 7 members of the commission shall constitute a quorum, but a lesser number may hold hearings. So in order to basically vote, you need at least 7, which more than likely would be the 7 that was appointed by the president. Damn. That don't sound too good now, right? See, now, part of the issue, now you can go through and read it, right? We're going to get back to the folktale. It's available. This is public information. We have to start getting individuals that are good at keeping track of stuff like this, get them to start going through this stuff so that we can start informing. And I will continue informing people about what's going on with stuff like this on Gye-Nyame Journey. But the issues, right? The issues that pops up with this already is that some of the stuff, like a lot of the data and stuff that they need, has already been researched. We got all that data, right? So it shouldn't take a whole year. But then now we got to wait for it to get passed and all this and blah, 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 right? And then on top of that, the president gets to select 3 people. Hold on, let's go back to that. The president selects 3 people. The Speaker of the House of Representatives get 3. And 1 member shall be appointed by the President pro tempore of the Senate. So this could be anybody. Family. Right? So already it's like it's being, the cards are being stacked against us to basically, and then on top of that, a quorum is only 7. So that means that a group of individuals could be like, y'all in here bullshitting, and walk away. And as long as 7 are there, they make the quorum, and they could vote and, you know what I'm saying, vote and say that their job is done. We don't believe that there's any reparations that are required. So what needs to happen is that HR 40 needs an overhaul. First it needs to get its weight up. It's thin like a crackhead. You know what I'm saying? We got to get the weight up. You know what I'm saying? But maybe we don't want to get the, you know what I'm saying? And then we got to get the majority of individuals that are involved to be non-government connected individuals who have been active with the idea of reparations. And we have to make sure that a large portion of those individuals are individuals who are part of the whole ADOS piece, right? Because they're coming from a whole different angle. They're coming with whole new data, you know what I'm saying? And they're going to know the proper questions to ask. They're going to know how to make hot, because one of the things about this is that once we start moving, we're moving towards it already. So now we got to stop making people, we got to start helping people to learn how to feel uncomfortable when they're dealing with us. Because we need to be asking those critical questions, right, that are directly connected to the well-being of ADOS. And we have to be specific in the language that this is a commission for ADOS, because a lot of us don't even understand how many people are more concerned about who's getting reparations rather than the idea of reparations itself. ADOS, once again, gives you that specific identity. So now back to the folktale, and I won't hold you up because nobody's calling in. The number is 614-556-4535 if you want to talk about that. Now let's go and break down the mules and the robbers. 2 mules well laden with packs were trudging along. One carried panniers filled with money, and the other sack weighted with grain. The mule carrying the treasure walked with head erect as if conscious of the value of his burden, and tossed up and down, and clear-toned bells fastened to his neck. His companion followed with quiet and easy steps. All of a sudden, robbers rushed upon them from their hiding place, and in the scuffle with their owners, wounded with a sword the mule carrying the treasure, which they greedily seized, while taking no notice of the grain. The mule, which had been robbed and wounded, bewailed his misfortune. The other replied, I am indeed glad that I was thought so little of, for I have lost nothing, nor am I hurt with any wound. All right, family, now let's look at this. All right, because of course you're going to connect it back to reparations, but now first we got a story about 2 mules. You know, mules are usually they're beasts of burden. They're often shown as being very stubborn animals, right? But once you get them working and once you get them moving, they're excellent at their work. One is carrying gold, the other is carrying grain. Both of these things are a necessity of life, right? Now, as they are going, one is just humbly going about his business. The other one is is hyped up with pride because he's carrying something. But this is the point. He's carrying something that's not his, and he's proud of it, right? We know people like this, right? They're more proud of their master shit than they are of their shit, right? He's carrying this burden for somebody else. Robbers, as robbers do, sprung out on him and ended up wounding his ass to get the gold. And the whole time he's bemoaning his issue. He's bemoaning his what happens to him. While the other mule is kind of like, you know, that's messed up that you messed up, but I'm kind of glad that they thought so lowly of me. Right? Now, both of these things are a necessity of life. The robbers totally overlooked the grain because with the gold, they could buy the grain. With the gold, they could buy the bread that comes from the grain. You know what I'm saying? So they got that medium of exchange up off this horse. Now, check this out. I want to ask you a question because I constantly go back and I start talking about the market, the mall, right? The G&J mall. One of the reasons that I'm stressing to you the importance of the mall is because it provides commerce. What was gold being carried for? It was being carried for commerce. Why did the robbers go for the gold? Because it's a medium of exchange. Now you could take what's on the one mule, the grain, but yet it's only you're limited in what you could trade that for. You could trade gold for almost damn near anything. So the robbers was getting the money so that they could take care of commerce. If robbers have enough sense to know that in order for them to exist and in order for them to live, they have to go on and get some gold. They got to go and get this gold so that they can exchange it for the things that they need in life. Why don't we? Right? Now, bring it back to the market. What are we doing in the market? We provide a space where our family can come and they can exchange their goods for a medium of exchange called money and make money and possibly get some more good products so that you can come back, and no community can survive without it. No family can survive without this medium exchange right now, at least in the country that we're living in right now. But yet, we run away from ours. As a matter of fact, the robbers don't have to jump from behind the rocks to take our money. We take our money to the robbers and be like, here you go, son. Here you go, son. Take my money. What we're trying to do, we're trying to develop something that is culturally stabilizing. Right? Culturally stabilizing, and that can support you. Now, it's the same thing with reparations. As long as we carrying grain, robbers don't give a fuck. But as soon as they start seeing us trying to carry something of value with a certain pride, with the bells and stuff, we give them a hint that there's something there. And they're going to spring out on us. Somebody on the line. How can I help you? Welcome to Gye-Nyame Journey.
What's up, man? It's Shaka.
What's going on?
Not much. I just saw that you was on and I tuned in. I don't even know what you're talking about right now.
All right, well, just go and get your feet wet. So now, let me read the story. For those that haven't heard, we have two mules and the robbers. Two mules well laden with packs were trudging along. Excuse me, it's real life here, Gye-Nyame Journey. Y'all better get in bed. Real life here, Gye-Nyame Journey. All right. The mules and the robbers. Two mules well laden with packs were trudging along. One carried panniers filled with money. The other sack weighted with grain. The mule carrying the treasure walked with head erect as if conscious of the value of his burden, and tossed up and down the clear-toned bells fastened to his neck. His companion followed with quiet and easy steps. All of a sudden, robbers rushed upon them from their hiding place, and in the scuffle with their owners, wounded with a sword the mule carrying the treasure, which they greedily seized while taking no notice of the grain. The mule which had been robbed and wounded bewailed his misfortune. The other replied, I am glad that I was thought so little of, for I have lost nothing, nor am I hurt with any wound. Now, getting back to it, right? Now, the whole reparations piece is about us also being able, because in some instances we're like those robbers in the rocks, and we about to take our shit back, right? You know what I'm saying? Now, because like I said, when you're breaking down these proverbs, you have to look at them from all angles. Now, all the characters can and do represent you. So in some senses, you the ass. In some senses, you're the master. In some senses, you are the robbers. All right, so now, the ass with the grain. Grain is important. Grain is important. But grain also comes with a problem. And the problem with the grain is that grain, in order for it to be useful as food, has to be taken through a process. Does it not? So the grain, although it is valuable, is not as valuable as the money. Because, like I said, you could exchange grain for certain things, but you could exchange money in most cases for all things. Right? Now, I know some of y'all are like, well, they were stupid because they should have took the grain. But the issue is, why take the grain when you are able to go and get that medium of exchange? Now, many times, like for example, in our lives, many of us, we settle for the grain rather than settling for the medium of exchange. We allow people to give us the grain. You know what I'm saying? In America, we have been allowing ourselves to accept the grain. On many of our jobs, we accept the grain. Right? It's valuable. Don't get me wrong. It's valuable, especially if you know how to grind it down and get the flour to make the bread or whatever else you could do with the grain. It's valuable, but it requires a process. So it's like the little bit that we get, we have to take it through a grinding process, a transformational process, so that we could go and make that little bit into a lot. Rather than accepting sometime or taking the medium exchange that could be used right away. In our communities, what we need things right away. Because if you look at where we're heading, if you look at the numbers, and I know the saying that there's three types of lies. You have the lie, you have the goddamn lie, you have the statistic, right? But still, in some cases, statistics can help you get an idea. It's not necessarily a predictor, but you can get an idea about the course of something by looking at the past. Now, it might not be the most accurate all the time, but it's better than nothing. Right? Many of us want to live our lives random, on a random piece, because this is my issue. Now, as far as the masters, how is it that you traveling with all this gold, but yet you don't have any security? You don't have no vanguard, you don't have no rear guard, you don't have no crew traveling with you that can help fight off some of these people that you know are going to jump you. So now you got to go on back in the story and think about the intelligence of the individuals that's traveling with the gold and the grain. Are you so stupid that you don't understand that you have something of value that other people might want? And that they could just look at the bag because the bag was heavily laid. This means you could look and you could see that the bag was heavy. So these robbers might not even want to rob. They might have just been sitting in the place. But they heard the bells from homeboy's steps. They could see the pride in him. His head is up. and he's, you know, he walking good, and he the shit. And then on top of that, you don't have enough people to secure the thing that's valuable. Now, another issue that this may point out is, are you protecting the things in your life that need to be protected? Are you spending the expense that is necessary in order for you to protect? And sometimes it don't have to just be that medium of exchange. It could be the time. Are we doing that in our community? Are we doing that in our families? Are we doing that in our personal lives? You know, Shaka, you want to hit on something? Anybody else out there got any comments about this one?
I haven't processed the story as much while I was on the line just now.
It's not one of those super
news, but I didn't want to interrupt the flow.
That's cool. It's not one of those super open ones. But like I said, all these come with some gems, man. Are you protecting what needs to be protected in your life? Are you just strapping it on the back of an ass and just walking and hoping that you make it where you're going? I don't understand how you got that much. You know what I'm saying? They had, I mean, if you listen to the description, because mules are strong as hell. 2 mules well laden with packs were trudging along. One carried panniers filled with money. How in the hell are you going on a journey with money and you don't have the security that you need? You know what I'm saying? Shouts out to Greedy, striving for greatness, Reem Valentino. How you doing today, young man? Long time no hear. We need to sit down and chat one day. Get some food or something. Well, that's one of my sons out there. Out there doing this thing. I see you popping up on Facebook with your little videos, and I don't want to call them little, and I ain't calling them little in a disrespectful way, but I see you. Right? Keep on doing your thing. Keep on pursuing your dream. But yeah, so the issue that we're looking at, right, is, one, are we protecting what we need to be protecting? Are we protecting our money? And I ain't just talking about the cash. You understand what I'm saying? I'm not just talking about the little silly cash or even the gold. Are we protecting our valuables? You know what I'm saying? I mean, because we could connect this to R. Kelly. You know, those young ladies, although the culture is very disrespectful of ladies, we know that young ladies are very valuable. Are we protecting the gold in our communities? Are we protecting the gold in our lives? You know what I'm saying? Are we protecting our children's minds?
The thing that came to mind. Hello?
I'm here.
Yeah. The thing that came to mind when you were telling that story was a story that I don't remember if it was The Dark Knight or the second one of the series. I think it was The Dark Knight, where Alfred is telling Bruce about this bandit, this robber that couldn't be reasoned with because he had no value for the things that we had value for. So I gotta go back to the story, but it had something to do with the fact that he would kill and leave these jewels all around. He would leave these gems around these and so he realized he had no use, he had no value for the jewels in which he was robbing. So they didn't know how to reason with him. And that's as far as I got in my thoughts. But it's just interesting because I can't. That's why I can't even break down the story into any other any other thought, because every time you speak of your story, that story pops up in my head.
So shouts out to Miss Regina.
Do you recall?
Oh, go ahead.
I was asking, do you recall the story I'm talking about?
Yeah, I think it was Dark Knight, but I'm trying to remember because they had to, in order to catch the dude, if I'm correct, they had to burn down all the villages or something like that until finally they caught him.
Yeah.
Something like that, because the way he thought and the way he handled things, they couldn't deal with him in a regular way. But shouts out to Miss Regina, the Yah in the family, right? She said that's a good point. The valuables should have been hidden, and there should have been bags that could be sacrificed in the event of robbers. See, these individuals didn't even, it's almost, when you read the story, it seems, or listen to the story, it almost seems like the idea of robbery, possible robbery or theft, never crossed their minds. Now, this is also a sign of horrible leadership, irresponsible leadership, or a setup. God damn. You know what I'm saying? Americans, know your worth, establish a foundation that will sustain the test of time, then collaborate, build, and maintain. These individuals did not collaborate with anybody else. Now, they got their dough, but they didn't develop an infrastructure that can help protect the money, which is a whole nother issue in our community. We're not building the infrastructure or the institutions that could protect shit that we get. That's what they're for. That's what institutions are for. To help communities, to help tribes, to help groups hold on to what they have. By having a collective response to things that happen. Because prayer is a collective response. When you go to that group of the church, far spiritually, that's a collective response. But what about the other collective responses that are necessary? When we look into other worlds, right? We got to understand that war is a collective response. Economics is a collective action and response. Education is a collective action and response, and all these things are held in institutions. These individuals, sound like our community all the way. I got the bag. Ain't that the word now? You got the bag, but you can't really protect that shit. Well, I got a gun if a nigga try to rob me. But what about when the IRS is trying to rob your ass? What about when the bank robbing your ass? What about when the police is robbing your ass? You don't have the infrastructure to protect yourself from the robbers. Because a lot of times we just, we want to put this negative image. These robbers. We don't know who that was. That could have been RS. That's a gang. The police. The education. You know what I'm saying? The whole social structure. Come on now. Family, are we building those institutions? Are we even thinking about building those institutions? Right? You know what I'm saying? Getting our young people ready so that they could take leadership, so that they understand what leadership is, understand what the responsibility of having leadership is. That's developing that team so that when we are walking out there with the bags, right? And the robbers come. The robbers, rather than us falling into the robbers' trap, the robbers fall into our trap. Oh, you trying to come take ours? As a matter of fact, give me that bag of gold you got on your waist. Give me that shit. You know what I'm saying? Get out of here. If I even let you leave, you fell for it. You know what I'm saying? But when you don't have, these these merchants or whatever they was traveling with had no foresight, no insight, no strategy. You and some asses walking in a place where robbers dwell. They was in the mountains, family. That's where robbers did. You know, robbers like to do shit out of forests and out off of mountains. Why? Because they always could catch your ass by surprise, especially if they know. Come on now, some foolishness. Foolishness. All right, family. I ain't gonna hold y'all up tonight because that one is quick and concise and to the point. But go and check out HR 40. You go to the government.org, congress.gov, and look up HR 40. Read the reparation bill for your the study and development, the commission to study and develop reparation proposals for African Americans Act. Now, we're not saying that it does not need to be studied, but I don't think this document speaks to it in the way that we need it to. When you look at the powers they got, the only real powers they got is to call motherfuckers up to have conversations. That's it. You just come, we can compel you to come and confess. But that's it. After that, there's no power. Then after that, you just write it up and you put it in the president's hand and he could sit on it and pass it to the next president, pass it to the next president. So then, you know, those of you my age will be 100, holding on, pushing, fighting, 100 years old. And we'll be right back in the same position where another group of young people will come up and then all of a sudden all the old motherfuckers will pop out the woodwork because we got to understand this is what's happening. Because the reparation movement got a little bit of steam. Those that have been involved with it in the past are trying to step up and once again step in the way of the young. Once again, not protecting our treasure. Right? Some of us are even acting as the bandits. We got our treasure out there. The young folks, we got a lot of young folks out here talking about ADOS. And what are the old folks doing? Not protecting them. They out there in the battle by themselves. I don't understand, man. Shit. There's no new tricks. They all are, and our ancestors have left us gems, teaching us every last one of them. All we got to do is be wise enough to hear them or to read them. There's wisdom in our ancestors. There's wisdom in our elders. We just have to be patient enough to dig through and do the work. Yeah, we got to go through a lot of mud and a lot of dirt and a lot of hard work and a lot of hard thinking. But that's what nation building is about. That's what warriorship is about. It's about being uncomfortable and pushing yourself when you're tired. So family, I'm about to get up out of here. I'm going to go to bed. It's after 10. So I want to thank y'all for joining us on the place, joining us in the place where your hustle builds muscle, right? The congregation of the mighty. This is Gye-Nyame Journey Media. This is the heart of it.
Hold on.
Oh, by the way, like and share, family. Go ahead. Like and share.
I can't let you go out like that tonight. I do got one special announcement. If you are listening in and you got your devices ready, you can go to YouTube, to Spotify, to iTunes, to anywhere where music is sold online, and check out Beats of the Symbiotic Cypher, which is an instrumental production CD that I put out for placement and licensing to be used as score music or to be used by other artists as music when you don't have your own, to be able to develop, pieces to put onto the marketplace. Now we can do business. So, once again, check out the...
Are you on your computer now?
Say it again?
Are you on your computer now?
Am I on my computer?
Yeah.
I'm not on my computer, right?
Can you post up the link on this timeline as well as share within Gye-Nyame Journey, please?
I will. While we're on, though, Hatim, my music has been made so accessible that if you name a track off of my album, my distribution has put individual tracks up on YouTube. And I was thinking that we could end the night on one of those pieces that you haven't used yet. So Hatim, if you will, check out YouTube Baba Shaka, and the name of the song is How We Roll.
Hold on. Man, now, man, don't be messing up my small little pennies I be getting for streaming, man.
No, it's all taken care of now.
Okay.
It's all taken care of. I got sound scan behind my tracks. I got shout out to DistroKid that basically they do what they supposed to do. So you there yet?
Nope. Hold on. Computer moves slow.
Yeah. Shout out to Suave Gotti. He put my album cover together, and we finally got project number 1 out there. So I figured I had to get just straight up music out.
I got a Shaka. No, we got Shaka Baba Shaka profile, Facebook. Shaka Baba profile. That's backwards. Why do I say Shaka Baba? I don't see nothing popping up.
Where you searching at?
On Google. You told me search on Google. Oh, you said on YouTube. My fault. All right, hold on. I'm slow.
And if you on Google, and you put Baba Shaka and the word cipher, all 13 tracks pop up on Google.
All right, I'm on Baba Shaka.
2Ks.
Oh, God damn it! You supposed to tell people. See, you need to tell people that right away, man.
Oh, and also, let me tell you something. What's happened since I put this album out, that many people have come to me and said, hey, there's a dude in England that's catfishing you. Do you know what catfish is?
Nuh-uh.
Okay, so Hatim, this is a new vocabulary word for you in the new age. When somebody clones your account, and they perpetrating like they you, that's catfish.
Oh, okay. Now, which one you want me to play? Because a bunch of them popped up. That's How We Roll?
Okay. Yeah. And we'll go out on this note right here. That's one of them. That one or Under the Sun. I'll let you choose. But they all meant for the same thing. So now you got 13 power tracks behind. Yeah.
Go ahead. night to you as well, Rain. Alright, family, we grooving up out of here on Brother Shaka's Move. I'm about on music. I'm about to post it up so that you can check it out if you follow the link. It will take you to it.
Also, just know that independent music is on the rise right now. My music is situated so that you can go on your radio station, your favorite radio station, and request it right now. That's right. If you listen to the Waves, you can call the Waves and request Robert Shaka, the tune that you listen to right now. It's that's how we roll.
Alright, family. I want to thank you for joining us in the Congregation of the Mighty. This is Gye-Nyame Journey Media. Alright, Anime, you on me, girl. It's a Heart of a Simba production, and we just did another Folktales for grown folks. Where we strive to blow up your old paradigm.